They say he was born old, hair white as frost, eyes heavy with the weight of 1,000 years before he even took his first breath. They call him Lao Tzu, the old master. But honestly, we don't even know if he was a man or just a myth made of smoke and whispers. Maybe he was just a ghost history invented because we needed someone to blame for the truth. It doesn't really matter, does it? The flesh rots, the bones turn to dust, but the voice stays. He lived in a time that feels frighteningly like our own. The Zhao dynasty was crumbling. The world was loud, everyone shouting over each other, everyone fighting for scraps of power, everyone trying to be something they weren't. Kings were greedy, scholars were arrogant, and amidst all that noise, there was him, the keeper of the archives, just watching. Think about that. A man whose job was to catalog human folly, day after day, reading the records of how we build things up just to burn them down. It wears on a soul. You can only watch people run in circles for so long before you get dizzy, before you get sick of the game. So he did what any sane person would do when the world gets too loud. He quit. He didn't start a revolution. He didn't write a manifesto. He just packed his bags. Legend says he climbed onto a water buffalo, an animal as slow and stubborn as time itself, and headed west, toward the mountains, toward the wilderness, toward the silence. He was leaving civilization behind to go die in the quiet arms of the unknown. He was done with words. He was done with men. But the world has a funny way of holding on to you just when you try to let go. At the Hongkou Pass, the Western Gate, a guard named Yin Qi saw him coming. Yin Qi wasn't just a soldier. He had the eyes to see greatness wrapped in rags. He stopped the old master. He wouldn't let him pass. Not yet. He said, "If you are going to leave us into the darkness, leave us something of your light. Write it down." Can you feel the weight of that moment? The old master weary, 1 foot out the door, forced to turn back one last time, to try and explain the unexplainable, to try and catch the wind in a jar. He sat down. He wrote 5,000 characters, just 5,000. Short, cryptic, beautiful. He handed the scroll to the guard, climbed back on his ox, and rode into the mist, never to be seen again. No grave, no monument, just the dust settling on the road. He left us the Tao Te Ching, a little book that says, right at the start, that words are useless. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. So here we are, thousands of years later. We are still loud, we are still fighting, and we are still chasing the ghost of the old master, trying to understand what he saw in the silence. We look at his words and we feel a tug in our chest, a memory of something we forgot we knew. He's gone, but the way remains. We think that if we aren't sweating, if we aren't suffering, we aren't making progress. We think life is a war to be won. But Lao Tzu, he looked at all that struggle and he laughed, a quiet, sad sort of laugh. He saw us trying to hammer the world into the shape we wanted, cracking our own hands in the process. He gave us a secret, 2 little words, Wu Wei. Translated, it means non-action or effortless action. But don't get it twisted. It's not about laziness. It's not about lying in bed while the roof collapses over your head. It's much more dangerous than that. It's about doing without doing. Think about a river. Does the river wake up in the morning and scream, "I must reach the ocean by noon"? Does it plan its route? Does it smash its head against the rocks, trying to break them? No, the river just flows. When it hits a rock, it doesn't get angry. It doesn't fight. It goes around. It yields. It changes shape. It is soft. It is humble. And yet, give it enough time, and that soft, yielding water will cut right through the stone. It will turn the mountain into a canyon. Lao Tzu said, "Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it." This is Wu Wei. It is the strength of softness. We have forgotten this. We are obsessed with the rigid. We want concrete plans. We want iron wills. But what happens to the stiff branch in a storm? It snaps. The willow? The willow bends. The willow survives. Wu Wei is the art of reading the current of life and swimming with it, not against it. Have you ever watched a master butcher, or maybe a great athlete, or a musician lost in the song? They aren't trying. The moment they start trying, they fumble. They miss the shot. They hit the wrong note. When they are in the zone, there is no them and no task. There is just the flow. The knife slides between the joints of the meat without hacking. The song plays itself. That is effortless action. It's acting when the time is right and sitting still when it's not. It sounds simple, right? So why is it so terrifying? Because it requires trust. To practice Wu Wei, you have to trust that the universe isn't out to get you. You have to believe that things will grow without you pulling on them. Think about a gardener. You can plant the seed, you can water the soil, you can ensure there is light, but you cannot make the plant grow. You can't pull on the sprout to make it taller. If you do, you kill it. You have to step back. You have to let nature take the lead. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. That's the hard truth Lao Tzu throws at us. We hurry everywhere. We rush to the red light, we rush to the grave. And what do we accomplish, really? Stress, anxiety, half-finished projects, and half-lived lives. Imagine if you stopped forcing, just for a day. Imagine if you stopped trying to force that person to love you. Stopped trying to force your career to peak right now. Stopped trying to force your mind to be quiet. What if you just floated? It feels like giving up control, I know. It feels like falling. But there is a secret at the bottom of the fall. The water is there to catch you. When you act in accordance with the Tao, with the natural order of things, you become efficient. You stop wasting energy on friction. You become like the sailor who waits for the wind instead of rowing until his heart bursts. The world is full of people rowing against the tide. Look at their faces. They are exhausted. Lao Tzu is inviting you to put down the oars, raise the sail, watch the water, wait for the wind. It's not passivity. It is the supreme intelligence of timing. It is knowing that the fruit will fall when it is ripe, and not a moment before. So take a breath, unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders. Stop trying to be the hammer. Be the water. You can't see it. You can't hear it. If you try to grab it, your hand closes on empty air. But it's there. It's always been there. The Tao, the way. It is the most frustrating thing in the world for a mind that wants answers. We crave definitions. We want to put a label on it, stick it in a jar, and put it on a shelf so we can say, I know what this is. But the moment you define the Tao, you've lost it. The moment you speak its name, you're talking about something else. Lao Tzu warned us. He said, the great Tao flows everywhere. both to the left and to the right. The 10,000 things rely on it. It holds nothing back. Think of it not as a god. It's not a king on a throne demanding your worship. It doesn't care if you pray to it. It doesn't care if you succeed or fail. It is simply the pulse of reality. It is the riverbed that the universe flows through. And that's the image he kept coming back to: water. We overlook water. It's common, it's everywhere. But Lao Tzu saw it as the ultimate master. Look at how water behaves. It is soft, it yields. If you punch a river, you don't hurt it, you just get wet. It doesn't fight you, it just moves around you. But give it time, give it enough time, and that soft, yielding water will cut right through solid rock. The Grand Canyon is just a monument to the patience of water. He told us, nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. We are the opposite. We are hard, we are brittle. We think strength means being a wall. We think strength means never backing down, never bending, never breaking. So we stand tall and rigid against the storm. And what happens? We snap. The tree that refuses to bend in the wind is the first one to be uprooted. The grass that bows low survives the hurricane. The Tao is that softness. It is the strength of the willow, not the oak. It's confusing, isn't it? It goes against everything we are taught. We are taught to climb, to strive, to conquer. We want to be the mountain, but the Tao seeks the valley. Water flows to the lowest places, the places men reject. It settles in the mud. It nourishes the roots in the dark. It is humble, and because it doesn't fight to be on top, nobody can topple it. And then there is the emptiness. We are terrified of empty space. We fill our calendars, we fill our houses, we fill the silence with noise, because if we stop for a second, we might have to face ourselves. We think value comes from what we have. But Lao Tzu asks us to look closer. Look at a bowl. You mold the clay to make the vessel, but it is the empty space inside that holds the soup. The clay is just the shell. The usefulness is in the nothingness. Look at a room. You build walls and a roof, but it is the empty space inside where you live. You cut doors and windows, holes in the wall, to make the room usable. We join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center hole that makes the wagon move. The Tao is that center hole. It is the void that allows the wheel of life to turn. It is the silence that allows the music to be heard. We have forgotten this. We are so busy trying to be something that we have lost the power of being nothing. We are like uncarved blocks of wood that have been hacked away at by society, carved into complicated, fragile shapes. We are exhausted. We are swimming upstream, fighting the current every single day, wondering why we are so tired, wondering why we are drowning. The Tao says, turn around, stop swimming, let the river take you. It sounds like giving up. It sounds like laziness. It's not. It is the hardest thing you will ever do. It requires a terrifying amount of trust. To trust that the universe knows what it is doing. To trust that the sun will rise without you winding it up. To trust that you are part of a flow that is older than the stars. It is about returning to the root, returning to simplicity. We make life so complicated. We create problems just to solve them. We invent anxieties just to medicate them. The Tao is the antidote to that fever. It is the cool hand on a hot forehead. It whispers that you don't need to force the door open. You don't need to kick it down. Just wait. The door was never locked. Have you ever really watched a river? not just glanced at it, but watched it. It doesn't look like much of a fighter. You can stick your hand right through it. You can scatter it with a stone. It has no shape of its own. It's shapeless, formless. It seems weak. And we hate weakness, don't we? From the moment we can walk, we are told to be the rock. Stand your ground. Be tough. Be unshakable. We armor ourselves. We build walls around our hearts and fortresses around our egos. We think that if we become hard enough, nothing can hurt us. We think hardness is strength. But Lao Tzu, he smiles at that, a sad, knowing smile. He points to the water and tells us we have it all backward. He said, "Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water, yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it." Think about the Grand Canyon. What carved that deep scar into the earth? Was it a hammer? Was it a giant machine? No, it was water. Soft, yielding, patient water. It didn't try to smash the rock in a day. It didn't get angry at the stone for being in its way. It just flowed, drop by drop, day by day, century by century. And the rock, with all its hardness, all its rigidity, eventually turned to sand. Hardness is brittle. That's the terrible truth we learn too late. When you are rigid, you break. Look at the storm. The mighty oak tree stands tall. It puffs out its chest and says, "I will not move." And when the wind howls, it snaps. It is torn up by the roots. But the blade of grass, the bamboo, it bends. It touches the ground. It humbles itself before the gale. And when the storm passes, it stands back up, unbroken. Lao Tzu put it this way: men are born soft and supple. Dead, they are stiff and hard. Plants are born tender and pliant. Dead, they are brittle and dry. Thus, whoever is stiff and inflexible is a disciple of death. Whoever is soft and yielding is a disciple of life. Check your own body right now. Are your shoulders tight? Is your jaw clenched? Are you holding your breath? That is the tension of the rock. That is you trying to fight the world. It's exhausting, isn't it? Trying to force life to go the way you want it to? We spend our whole lives swimming upstream. We fight the current, we fight our emotions, we fight people who disagree with us, we fight the clock. We are constantly crashing against obstacles, trying to smash through them with sheer will, and we wonder why we are so tired. We wonder why we feel so broken. Water doesn't do that. If you pour water into a cup, it becomes the cup. If you pour it into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. It adapts. It doesn't argue with the container. It fills it. When water meets a boulder in the stream, it doesn't stop and demand the boulder move. It flows around it. It finds the crack. It finds the path of least resistance. This isn't laziness. It's intelligence. It is the ultimate efficiency. The old master calls this the power of the low. Water always seeks the lowest place, the gutter, the valley, the deep ocean, places men despise. We want to be high up. We want the pedestal. We want the glory. But water flows down. It nourishes everything because it is willing to go where nothing else will. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It helps the sinner and the saint alike. It doesn't judge, it just gives. So the lesson is terrifyingly simple. Stop fighting. Stop trying to be the hammer. Be the water. When life throws an obstacle in your path, don't crash into it. Flow around it. When someone attacks you with anger, don't meet them with more hardness. Meet them with softness. Absorb the blow and let it pass through you. Hardness creates resistance. Softness dissolves it. It takes a different kind of courage to be soft. It feels unsafe. It feels like surrender. But it's not surrender. It's survival. It is the only way to endure. The teeth are hard and they fall out. The tongue is soft and it lasts until the end. Be fluid. Be shapeless. Let the world do what it will. You just keep flowing. Because in the end, the rock always loses and the water always wins. Lao Tzu looked at this desperate human need to control the outcome, and he saw it for what it was, a trap, a cage we build for ourselves. He saw the kings of his time passing law after law, raising taxes, building armies, trying to force the kingdom into peace. And what happened? Chaos. Thieves multiplied, the people starved. The harder the rulers tried to tighten the noose, the more the order slipped through their fingers. He said something that sounds crazy to our modern ears. He said, "The world is won by those who let it go. But when you try and try, the world is beyond the winning." Think about that. The harder you try to force life to be what you want, the further it runs from you. Like trying to grab a handful of water. Squeeze your fist, and the water is gone. Open your hand, cup it gently, and you hold it all. This is the hardest lesson. It goes against everything we are taught. We are taught to hustle, to push, to conquer. We treat life like it's a war to be won. But Lao Tzu asks us, who are you fighting? You are fighting the river. You are fighting the way. He gave us a warning. The world is a sacred vessel. It cannot be improved. If you tamper with it, you ruin it. If you treat it like an object, you lose it. How many times have we ruined a beautiful moment because we tried to capture it? How many relationships have we suffocated because we tried to define them too quickly? We tamper, we poke, we prod. Lao Tzu had a funny way of putting it. He said, governing a great nation is like cooking a small fish. Have you ever cooked a delicate fish? If you keep poking it, flipping it, scraping it with a spatula, what happens? It turns into mush. You ruin it. You have to leave it alone. You have to let the heat do the work. You have to trust the process. That is the secret we are all afraid to hear. Trust. The opposite of control isn't chaos. It's trust. It's trusting that the sun will rise without you winding it up. It's trusting that your heart will beat without you commanding it. He called this Wu Wei. It's usually translated as non-action, but that's a terrible translation. It sounds like laziness. It sounds like sitting on the couch and rotting. That's not it. Wu Wei is effortless action. It is action aligned with the flow. Think of the master butcher. He doesn't hack at the bone. He slides the knife into the spaces between the joints. He doesn't dull his blade. He follows the path of least resistance. He works with the meat, not against it. Think of water. Lao Tzu loved water. He couldn't stop talking about it. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water, yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. Water doesn't fight the rock. It flows around it. It embraces it. And in the end, after 1,000 years, who wins? The rock is gone. The water remains. We want to be the rock. We want to be hard, unmoving, invincible. But the rock shatters. The rock erodes. Be the water. When you stop trying to control every variable, you enter the flow. You stop swimming upstream. You let the current carry you. And suddenly, you are moving faster than you ever could on your own, and you aren't even tired. It requires a death of the ego. The ego loves control. The ego says, I did this. But the spirit says, it happened through me. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. So ask yourself today, what are you holding on to that has already gone? What are you trying to force that wants to be free? The tightness in your chest? That's your resistance to what is. Lao Tzu is inviting you to drop the heavy load, to stop pretending you are God, to realize that the universe has been spinning just fine for billions of years without your management. Let it be. Let it settle. Muddy water, let stand, becomes clear. Stop stirring the mud. Stop fixing. Stop controlling. Just watch and see what clears up when you finally take your hands off the wheel. We are obsessed with more money, more status, more noise. We spend our whole lives carving ourselves into shapes we think other people will like. We chip away pieces of our soul to fit into boxes that are too small. We paint over our true faces until we forget what we look like underneath. Lao Tzu saw this trap a long time ago. He looked at the courts of ancient China, filled with people strutting around in silk, reciting fancy poetry, pretending to be important. He saw right through it. He saw the rot underneath the perfume, and he had a name for the way out. He called it Pu, the uncarved block. Think of a block of wood, rough, plain. It hasn't been cut into a bowl or a statue or a throne. It has no name. It has no defined purpose yet. It's just wood. But because it is nothing specific, it can be anything. It holds infinite potential. It is pure. It is honest. It doesn't pretend to be gold or jade. It is just itself. That's you, before the world got its hands on you, before they told you that you had to be smart or rich or beautiful to matter. You were just you, whole, complete. But then the carving starts. Society takes its knife. Slice. You need a degree. Slice. You need a better job. Slice. You need to be thinner, louder, tougher. We let them whittle us down until we are delicate, fragile little things, easily broken. We become vessels, useful tools for the world to use, but hollow inside. We trade our essence for a label. Lao Tzu looked at all these fancy, carved-up people, the politicians with their polished speeches, the merchants with their golden robes, and he shook his head. He said, "The great way is easy, but people prefer the side paths." We love the complicated paths. We love the drama of it. We think if we suffer more, if we complicate it more, it must be worth more. We are addicted to the struggle. The old master taught that power doesn't come from adding more decoration. It comes from stripping it all away, returning to the block. He wrote, "Manifest plainness, embrace simplicity, reduce selfishness, have few desires." Sounds easy, right? It's the hardest thing you'll ever do, because everything around you is screaming that you are not enough. The billboards, the screens, the voices in your head, they all want you to want more. They want you to be a complicated machine. They want you hungry. But the machine always breaks. The uncarved block endures. This is the core of the teaching. It's not about learning new tricks. It's about unlearning the old lies. The old master was very clear about this distinction. He gave us one of the hardest truths to swallow. To attain knowledge, add things every day. To attain wisdom, remove things every day. Let that sink in. We are taught to collect facts, collect friends, collect achievements. We hoard them like treasures, dragging them behind us in a heavy sack. But wisdom is dropping the sack. It's lightening the load. It's realizing you've been carrying rocks thinking they were diamonds. It's about waking up and realizing you don't need the extra layer of paint. You don't need the validation. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room. In fact, it's better if you aren't. Lao Tzu often spoke about the mind of the fool, not a stupid person, but a person who isn't calculating every move, a person who is empty of schemes. When you are the uncarved block, you are spontaneous. You react to the world like water reacts to a stone. You just flow around it. You don't overthink it. You don't argue with reality. You just are. There is a wild, raw freedom in that. To be simple, to be content with what is right in front of you, to see a bowl of rice as a feast, to see a sunset as a miracle, not just a photo opportunity. We are terrified of being plain. We think plain means boring. We think plain means invisible. But the old master tells us that plain is where the power is. The simplest things are the strongest. The root is stronger than the flower. The stone is stronger than the wall. Clear the dust, forget the names they gave you. Go back to the block. Be simple, be whole, and watch how the world suddenly stops fighting you and starts holding you up. We treat them like enemies, don't we? Light and dark, good and bad. You wake up and you want the sun to stay. You want the happiness to stick to your ribs and never let go. And when the shadow comes, you run. We all run. We build walls, we light fires, we distract ourselves with noise, because the silence feels like an ending. But it's not. It never was. Lao Tzu saw the world differently. He didn't see a battlefield. He didn't see the light trying to kill the dark. He saw a dance. He saw two lovers, tangled up, pushing and pulling, neither one able to exist without the other. This is the dance of Yin and Yang, and it's the hardest lesson your heart will ever have to learn. Think about the mountain. The sunny side, that's the Yang. It's warm. Things grow there. It's where you want to build your house. But you can't have a sunny side without a shady side, the Yin. The mountain is both. If you try to chop off the shady side, you lose the mountain. You lose the whole thing. Being and non-being create each other. That's what he wrote in the Tao Te Ching. Difficult and easy support each other. Long and short define each other. High and low depend on each other. It sounds simple, I know, but try living it. Try accepting your grief the same way you accept your joy. That's where we break, isn't it? We live in a world that is obsessed with the Yang. We want growth, expansion, more money, more fame, more noise, more light. We are addicted to the sun. And look at us. We are exhausted. We are burning out because we have forgotten how to rest. We have forgotten the Yin. Yin is the night. It is the valley. It is the slow, cool water. It is the mother. Lao Tzu said, "Know the male, but keep to the female. Receive the world in your arms." He wasn't talking about men and women. He was talking about force versus surrender. He was telling us that true power doesn't come from constant action. It comes from knowing when to stop, when to be quiet, when to let the mud settle so the water can become clear again. You feel this imbalance, don't you? That tightness in your chest, that panic that says if you stop moving, you'll disappear. That is an overdose of Yang. It's fire without wood. It consumes everything and leaves nothing but ash. You need the dark. You need the winter. You need the times in your life where nothing seems to be happening. Because underground, in the dark, that's where the seed cracks open. That's where the roots go deep. The Tao is like an empty container. It can never be emptied and can never be filled. Infinitely deep, it is the source of all things. It's about the space between, the pause between the inhales. If you only inhale, you die. You have to let it go. You have to let the breath leave you. That exhalation is the yin. It is the surrender. And it is terrifying because it feels like losing control. But control is just an illusion anyway. You never had it. You were just riding the wave. The dance is untangling the knot in your mind that says this is good and this is bad. It is all just is. The storm is not evil. The rain is not a punishment. It is just the balance restoring itself. When a fever burns through you, it's violent, yes, but it's the body fighting to find its center again. The world works the same way. Your life works the same way. So when the darkness comes for you, and it will, don't draw your sword. Don't scream at the sky. Invite it in. Sit with it. It has something to teach you that the light never could. The light blinds you to the stars. Only the night reveals them.
Lao Tzu reminds us, when people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. When people see some things as good, other things become bad. It is a circle. Round and round we go. And if you can find your footing, if you can stop fighting the spin and just lean into the turn, that is peace. That is the dance. And you are the dancer. We think that more is the answer to the ache in our chests. More money, more noise, more love, more recognition. But the truth is, we have it all backwards. We are obsessed with the container, and we have forgotten the space inside. Lao Tzu knew this. He walked the same dusty roads we do, saw the same greed, the same frantic grasping for substance. And he offered a truth so simple it feels like a riddle, yet it cuts through our modern chaos like a knife. He spoke of the void, the nothing. He said, 30 spokes share the wheel's hub. It is the center hole that makes it useful. Think about that. Really picture it. You can build a wheel out of the strongest oak. You can gild the spokes with gold. You can carve intricate designs into the rim. But if you don't leave that empty space in the center for the axle, it's not a wheel. It's just a block of wood. It's dead weight. It goes nowhere. The something, the wood, the gold, the craft, is only there to hold the nothing. The usefulness lies in the empty space. We do this with our lives, don't we? We polish the spokes, we make our outer lives look perfect. We build the career, the body, the reputation. But where is the center? Where is the stillness that allows the wheel to turn? If your center is clogged with anxiety, with ego, with the constant chatter of I need, I want, I fear, you cannot move. You are stuck. You are grinding your gears against the pavement. Lao Tzu didn't stop there. He looked at the everyday objects we take for granted and saw the universe in them. He said, mold clay into a vessel. It is the emptiness inside that makes it useful. A cup is defined by what isn't there. If a cup is solid clay, you can't drink from it. You can't pour tea into a rock. It is the hollow space, the void, that invites the water. And yet, look at us. We are solid blocks. We are so full of our own opinions, our own certainty, our own noise, that nothing new can enter. The universe tries to pour wisdom into us, love into us, peace into us, but it spills over the sides because there is no room. We are full. And because we are full, we are useless to the Tao. We are terrified of being empty. We think emptiness means loneliness. We think it means failure. So we fill the silence with music, with podcasts, with idle talk. We fill our calendars because a blank day feels like a judgment. But Lao Tzu whispers to us across the centuries, cut doors and windows for a room. It is the holes which make it useful. Without the empty space of the door, you are in a coffin, not a room. Without the void, you are trapped. So here is the hard truth. The exhaustion you feel, that deep, weary heaviness in your bones, it isn't because you aren't doing enough. It's because you are doing too much. You are too full. You are trying to carry the weight of the world in a cup that has no space left. Therefore, Lao Tzu tells us, profit comes from what is there, usefulness from what is not there. We chase the profit, the tangible, the visible stuff, but the usefulness of life, the magic of it, lives in the invisible. It lives in the pause between your heartbeats. It lives in the silence between your thoughts. You have to carve out the hollow. You have to be brave enough to stop, to sit and just be, to let the mud settle so the water becomes clear. It feels counterintuitive. It feels like losing. But emptiness is not a lack of something. It is a potential for everything. Only an empty page can be written on. Only an empty valley can hold the wind.
Become the valley. Be the empty cup. Stop trying to be the rock. The rock crumbles. The rock is brittle. But the void is eternal. It cannot be broken because it is already nothing. And in that nothing, my friend, you will finally find the everything you have been running toward. We think control is power. We think that if we just grip the steering wheel harder, if we just analyze the past one more time, if we just worry enough about tomorrow, we can force the universe to bend to our will. But the old master, Lao Tzu, he whispers something different across the centuries. He looks at our clenched fists and he laughs, not a cruel laugh, but a soft, knowing chuckle, like a grandfather watching a child try to hold back the tide with a plastic bucket. He tells us the hardest truth of all. By letting it go, it all gets done. The world is won by those who let it go. But when you try and try, the world is beyond the winning. Think about that. The world is beyond the winning. You cannot conquer life. You can only experience it. Lao Tzu teaches us about Wu Wei, effortless action. It sounds like a paradox, doesn't it? How can you do without doing? But look at nature. Does the grass strain to grow? Does the sun stress about rising in the east? No. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. The oak tree doesn't have an anxiety attack about becoming an oak tree. It just is. It lets go of the need to be anything else, and in that surrender, it becomes majestic. We, however, are terrified of the void. We are terrified of the space between thoughts, so we fill it with noise, we fill it with plans. But Lao Tzu asks us to look at a bowl. What makes the bowl useful? Is it the clay? Is it the gold decorations on the rim? No, it is the empty space inside. We mold clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that makes the vessel useful. You are so full of yourself, your ego, your fears, your identity, that there is no room for the Tao to enter. There is no room for peace. You have to empty the cup. It feels like dying, I know. Letting go of the anger you've nursed for 10 years feels like losing a limb. Letting go of the dream that didn't come true feels like admitting defeat. But this is the great illusion. You aren't losing anything real. You are shedding dead skin. You are dropping the hot coal that you've been holding, thinking you are punishing someone else, while only burning your own hand. Lao Tzu points to the water. Be like water, he says. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. Water doesn't fight the rock. It flows around it. It flows over it. And eventually, softly, patiently, it wears the rock down to sand. Surrender is not weakness. Surrender is a different kind of strength. It is the strength of the willow tree that bends in the storm and survives, while the rigid pine snaps in two.
So, what is it that you are holding right now? What is that thought looping in your mind at 3 a.m.? Is it a person, a regret, a desire for revenge, a desperate need to be loved? Look at it, really look at it, and then consider the possibility that you don't have to carry it anymore. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to figure it out. If you realize that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. That is the secret. Everything is slipping away anyway. The sand is already falling through your fingers. Squeezing tighter won't stop it. The art of letting go isn't something you do once. It's a practice. It's a breath.
Every exhale is a little death, a little letting go, and every inhale is a rebirth. When you stop fighting the current, when you finally lift your legs and float, you realize the river was trying to carry you home the whole time. You were just too busy drowning to notice.
When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. So loosen your grip, just a little.
Unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders. Let the world spin without your permission. It will be okay. In fact, it will be better. Because when you finally let go, you aren't falling, you're flying.
Three old men, standing around a vat of vinegar. It's an ancient image, painted 1,000 times by 1,000 hands. But the story never gets old. It's the story of us, of how we taste the world. They each dip a finger, they taste, and their faces tell you everything you need to know about the human heart.
First, there's Confucius, the man of rules, the man of order. He tastes it and his face puckers. Sour. It tastes like a mistake. To him, the vinegar is sour because it's not wine. It's degenerated. It's a symbol of a world that has lost its way, a world that has forgotten the rituals and the respect of the ancients. He looks at life and sees what's missing. He sees the cracks in the pavement, not the grass growing through them. He thinks, if only we followed the rules, if only we honored the ancestors, then the sour would turn sweet.
We all have a bit of him in us, don't we? That voice that says the world is broken and it's up to us to fix it with strict lines and heavy expectations. Then there's the Buddha, the awakened one. He tastes the vinegar and his expression is grim, bitter, like bile. To him, the vinegar is bitter because life is dominated by pain and suffering. It's the taste of attachment. We want the vinegar to be sweet, but it isn't, and that wanting creates the bitterness. He sees the trap, the cycle of birth, old age, sickness, and death. To enjoy the vinegar is to ignore the poison in the cup. So he seeks to step away from the vat entirely, to transcend the taste. And I get that. I really do. Sometimes this life feels like a burden too heavy to carry, and the only way out seems to be closing your eyes to it all. But then there is the third man, Lao Tzu, the old master. He dips his finger, he tastes, and he smiles. He doesn't grimace, he doesn't recoil. He looks at you through the dust of centuries, and he smiles. Why? Is he crazy? Does he have a different vat than the other two? No, it's the same vinegar, the same messy, chaotic, confusing world. But to Lao Tzu, the taste isn't sour and it isn't bitter. It is sweet. This is the secret. This is the thing that keeps me up at night, staring at the ceiling, trying to understand. He smiles because he isn't fighting the vinegar. He knows that vinegar is supposed to be vinegar. It's not failed wine. It's not a pot of suffering. It is exactly what it is. And in that acceptance, in that total embrace of the nature of the thing, there is a sweetness that the others missed. He taught us that the world doesn't need to be forced into a mold. It doesn't need to be rejected. It needs to be flowed with. As he said in the Tao Te Ching, life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. Think about that. Let reality be reality. It sounds so simple, right? But it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. We spend our whole lives acting like Confucius, trying to rewrite the rules, angry that the world isn't behaving. Or we act like the ascetic, bitter that things change, bitter that we lose what we love. We scream at the rain for being wet. We yell at the night for being dark. Lao Tzu is the one standing in the rain, laughing. He knows the rain feeds the earth. He knows the dark lets the stars shine. He called this Tao, the way. It's not a god you pray to. It's a river you swim in. And you don't swim by fighting the current. You float. You let the water carry you. You become like water itself. Nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water, yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. That's the paradox. The others want to conquer the world with laws or transcend it with detachment. Lao Tzu wants to join it. He knows that the sourness and the bitterness are just judgments we bring to the table. If you strip away your demand for the world to be different, what are you left with? You're left with the moment. You're left with the raw, unpolished, beautiful truth of now. He calls us to be the uncarved block. Simple, honest, potential waiting to happen, but content just being wood. We try so hard to carve ourselves into something successful, something good, something worthy. We hack away pieces of our soul to fit into the square hole society dug for us, and then we wonder why we bleed. We wonder why the vinegar tastes so sour. Lao Tzu puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "Stop carving. You were enough before the chisel touched you." When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. It's a sweetness that comes from relief. The relief of laying down your armor. The relief of realizing that the universe isn't a puzzle to be solved or a battle to be won. It's a garden. Sometimes there are weeds, sometimes there are thorns. But if you stop wishing it was a library or a fortress, you might just taste the fruit. So when you look at that old painting, look at the smile. That's the goal. Not to change the vinegar, but to change the tongue, to find the sweet spot in the chaos, to trust the way. Because in the end, the vinegar is just life. And life, my friend, is only as bitter as your refusal to swallow it. We live in an age that demands we be everything, everywhere, all at once. We are addicted to the push, the grind, the force. We wake up and immediately start wrestling with reality, trying to chokehold the day into submission before we've even had our coffee. We treat life like it's a hostile witness in a courtroom. We badger it, we demand answers. We want to know the destination before we've taken the first step. And if the path isn't clear, we hack through the jungle with machetes, sweating, bleeding, screaming at the sky. We are obsessed with control. That's the modern sickness. We think if we just tighten our grip a little more, if we just worry a little harder, we can stop the chaos. But it doesn't work like that, does it? The tighter you squeeze, the more slipping through your fingers.
It reminds me of something the old master, Lao Tzu, said. He saw this coming, even thousands of years ago. He looked at the frantic hearts of men and asked, "Do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself?" Most of us would say no. Wait, who has time to wait? We have deadlines, we have expectations, we have this crushing weight to make something of ourselves. So we stir the water, we stick our hands in the muck, thrashing around, trying to clear it up, but all we do is make it cloudier. We can't see the bottom because we never stop moving long enough to let the dust settle. We have forgotten the art of allowing. We act as if the universe is broken and we were sent here to fix it. We push boulders up hills that were never meant to be climbed. We stay in relationships that have been dead for years because we think we can force a heartbeat. We chase careers that turn our souls to ash because we're terrified of the silence that comes when we stop running. It's a violent way to live. Lao Tzu called this forcing. He warned us against it. He said, if you tamper with it, you ruin it. If you treat it like an object, you lose it. Think about that. How many things have you ruined simply because you wouldn't let them be? How many times did you snap a flower because you tried to force it to bloom before it was ready? There is a stiffness to us, a rigidity. We armor up. We brace for impact. We walk through the world with our fists clenched, ready to fight the inevitable. But the Tao Te Ching tells us this is the way of death, not life. Lao Tzu observed the trees and the grass. He said, "Men are born soft and supple. Dead, they are stiff and hard. Plants are born tender and pliant. Dead, they are brittle and dry. Thus, whoever is stiff and inflexible is a disciple of death. Whoever is soft and yielding is a disciple of life." We are becoming disciples of death, walking around in living bodies. We are brittle. One bad day cracks us. One unexpected change shatters us. Because we cannot bend, we cannot yield. But there is another way. It feels counterintuitive. It feels dangerous to the modern mind. It's the way of water. Water doesn't force. It doesn't scream at the rock blocking its path. It doesn't try to hammer through the mountain. It flows around. It goes under. It finds the crack. It yields. And in yielding, it becomes unstoppable. Water is the softest thing in the world, yet it cuts through the hardest rock, not by force, but by persistence, by flow. We need to learn how to float again. You know that feeling when you're in a pool and you try to keep your head above water by thrashing your arms? You sink, you get exhausted. But if you lean back, if you stop fighting, the water holds you up. It was always there to hold you up. You just didn't trust it. We don't trust life. That's the core of it. We don't trust that things will work out unless we manipulate them. We don't trust that the right doors will open. So we pick the locks, we break the windows, and we end up in rooms we were never meant to enter. Lao Tzu whispers to us across the centuries, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. The sun doesn't stress about rising. The seasons don't hold a meeting to decide when to change. The grass doesn't strain to grow, it just does. There is a rhythm, a great silent pulse beneath the noise. Stop swimming upstream. The current is stronger than you. It always has been. Turn around. Let go. See where it takes you.